Hey, as you've heard from probably countless sources so far, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland is amazing. This is going to be kind of stream of consciousness since it was just this huge rush. But it was so much fun. It is so much fun that I have not been able to part with cutting off my wristbands yet. So if that tells you anything. So I may or may not have gone to a wedding reception with these wristbands underneath. You can't prove anything, but Tony and Alameo, I do wish you a very long and happy marriage. So anyway, Galaxy's Edge is great. The way, just if you're going in June, just so you know, you'll have to go over by Space Mountain, and they have that rotunda, that big spiral walkway that's over by Space Mountain and the old Captain EO. So you have to walk up there, and then it's like a travel reservation thing. So it's all incredibly well done. There's also a gift shop up there. I have heard that you can actually get up there and see the gift shop and see the reservations, like if you want to. But I don't know. Maybe they'll change that. From there, in June, you have to go over by basically Big Thunder Mountain, and there's a big long walkway that you have to go on. Even if you're watching this post-June, I'd really recommend you enter from there because it's a big long walkway that kind of winds back and forth, and it's kind of like just this foresty thing. And I like it because it creates a separation between Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland. And then the other thing is they have this really neat trick from that entrance where there's a lot of curved walkways, and those curved walkways are amazing because you'll just walk and turn, and then oh my gosh, something amazing is around the corner. In my case, through that walkway, the amazing thing was that an X-wing, not Luke's X-wing, but this incredibly big X-wing. And it's amazing because even though I've seen the spoilers like everyone else, like there's something about being there and seeing something that physically big, even though it's fake. You know it's fake, but it looks real. So you get to see an X-wing, and then you get to see an A-wing over to the right. A-wing was smaller than I thought, but whatever. It's all fake. And then on the left, they have a lot of kiosks as you're walking. Some really cool things. There's some helmets there, fighter helmets for both Rebel and Sith, which was pretty cool. That you may want to get. The other thing is once you kind of weave through there to the left, you'll find some land speeders, which I thought was cool. I desperately wanted to jump in one, but I understand it's all kind of corralled. And then you kind of move to the right again, and then you see this huge like marketplace, which that marketplace has got some of your plush toys, your basically your toys, and that's where you get the weird popcorn, which was okay. It was okay, but it's both sweet and spicy and salty, so it's cool. Not my thing, but I'm not a big popcorn guy. But once you get through that, again, with this curvy thing, you kind of curve, and then to the left, you just see the Falcon, which is it's this big balcony where you can get Falcon pictures. And I mean, I'm a Luke guy, but as soon as I saw that, I was just blown away. It's amazing, and there's also to the right, there's like that Imperial transport thing, kind of like the personal thing like they use in Return of the Jedi to fly into the Death Star. But the main thing for me was getting to pilot I literally have piloted the Millennium Falcon now, which is just spectacular. The ride itself is amazing, and I believe it's called Smuggler's Run. It's the one ride that's open. There's a second one that will open in the fall. And one of the funniest things about it was the people who were working the ride, because Disneyland people are very Disney, and when they work there, they're super nice. And Smuggler's Run, they're still nice, but they're snarky, which is hilarious. And I'm sure there are so many people who work at Disneyland who are dying to work there, because they're all very quick-witted, and they're not mean, but they kind of have an edge of like don't ask me a stupid question, and they all act like they're smugglers, and so it's just really fun, and it's amazing because you kind of work your way through, you get what your mission is, and then as you're waiting to go in, you're given a job. You're either a pilot or a gunner or an engineer. So you're either going to drive it, you're going to shoot things, or you're going to put fires out and stuff like that. And so it's incredibly sensory ride. And before you go into the cockpit, there's like this waiting area before you're sent over, and that's where the chessboard is from Star Wars, which is spectacular. I wish you could play it, but on the other hand, everybody would want to play it. And anyway, I understand why they did what they did. So from there you go, and once you get into that entry room, and then you go eventually to where you're going to pilot, it's just the hallway looks exactly like the movie. So you're just like, it's weird. And then you kind of walk in, or right before you go to the cockpit, there's a last video. And then from there, the doors fly open, and then, oh my gosh, you race to your to whatever station you've got, because it's a Millennium Falcon and you can't help yourself. So the first time I rode it, immediately got in, so exciting. And then immediately, like someone from the ride like races in, like, go, 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 you gotta go, you gotta go. And so you're flying your seatbelt on, like the ride starting, so you can't get pictures in the cockpit. And but it's amazing. And I flew the Falcon, which again, I was actually really nervous about, because I'm bad at flight simulator games. And I was there with friends, and this is the other thing, is you gotta go with your geekiest friends. I went with 5 of my fellow teachers, so big shout out to Ella, who got us to the reservations. Ella, you're amazing. And I've got to say, that Bucky deserves Captain America's shield. Even though I don't believe it in my heart, you got me the reservation, so there, publicly, Bucky should have gotten the shield. Anyway, Ella was the pilot with me. We had Chico and Bird on gunners, and we had Daniela and Steve as engineers. And I am so glad I got to experience it with them, because we all love Star Wars, and it was just infectious to be in the land with them. And then especially this ride, because we were so into it. It was crazy, and we're yelling at each other positively, yelling at each other, and like, you go through the first part, and then you got the jump to hyperspace, and everyone's going like, punch it, punch it, punch it, and Ella, puts us in hyperdrive, and we fly off, and we're cheering, and anyway, it was so fun. We're like cheering each other on and yelling at each other, and it was so fun. There's instructions you get which are different, so so it's a bit of a different ride. It's a different experience to be a pilot or a gunner or an engineer. If you get stuck as a pilot, don't get too nervous, like I was. So it does kind of guide you a little bit. It is a no-fail ride. So you can definitely do different things. You can get different scores, but you will make it. And it was amazing. So we get done with the ride, and just by happenstance, as we were leaving the ride, they were doing the fireworks show. So I totally had my getting a medal from Princess Leia moment, because you're out and everyone's cheering and there's fireworks and people are telling you congratulations. It was just spectacular. So the other thing that was great about it is that there's all sorts of different shops, and the shops sell different things. So there's just so much to see. The other thing is we had blue milk afterwards, of course, after the ride, as a congratulatory thing, and it was delicious. It's kind of like a pina colada-ish type of thing, but it's blue, and it just tastes like heaven. It's amazing. There's also a droid workshop where you make your own droid. It's about $100 to make the droid, and $15 for a personality chip. The size of the droids are about as big as this. So this is the model I got for Neil's boy Don, who's a huge, great X-Wing player, plays in the national tournaments and stuff. So I got him Poe's X-Wing. But anyway, the droids are, when they're finished, are about this big. So they rushed me out of there before I spent the money, because I want to stay married. But that seemed amazing. There were 2 things I didn't experience, which I've heard great things about. Number one is they have a temple in the middle, which I saw the outside of it, and I glanced into the inside for a little bit, and that's where you can buy and customize your own lightsaber, and they have like a ceremony, and you pick the crystal and stuff like that. And so all those things are spectacular. But again, staying married, so I didn't buy them. And you get this great case. It's amazing. You get this great case to take it out with. Anyway, the whole thing is that you, so that was amazing. I didn't do it. I also didn't get into the cantina, which I've heard is amazing, that the stormtroopers and whoever the actors they have playing Kylo are just hilarious and awesome and mean and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so I didn't get a chance to do either of those. But I got to do my dream. And there was another dream, which I didn't realize I even had. I've, again, always been a Luke guy. I've always thought Chewie was okay. And Han was cool, and they were cool, but I didn't have like a personal connection to them. But as I was leaving, normally at Disneyland they have like, the characters are always like tightly guarded by people, and you have to wait in these huge lines. And I just happened upon Chewbacca, and Chewie They're wearing like lifts and stuff like that. So Chewie's like 6'6" or 7 feet tall. And especially since Peter Mayhew has died, who's the actor for it, it was just really weird for me to have a moment with this actor playing Chewie, because I didn't realize the visceral connection I have with Chewbacca, like I think most people do. And knowing that it wasn't Peter, but it was wonderful. It was wonderful to have just a moment where I just sheepishly asked Chewie if I could get a selfie, and yeah, it was really nice. It was really cool, because Chewie's is like a puppy, but would do anything to save your life. Just this really weird, cool connection that I felt like I had with the character, which I didn't realize if I hadn't met him or met the character like in person. So it was just wonderful. Definitely go out and see it. And even though my daughter was kind of speaking in the background and might have ruined this take, I just feel like I will never do this better. So here I am cutting the wristbands, and I would say go see it. Disney and Imagineers and everybody who has anything to do with it, you guys did it. So awesome. May the force be with you all, my bright suns and rising moons to everyone.